Happy Friday, everybody. If you saw in my stories, I condensed in 2 minutes something that I am feeling strongly now while I am in the throes of working on some research, and I got a text from a friend, so thank you to my friend for that text. I figured I'd post a video as well because it is on my heart to share it, because I know many people are dealing with this, and it's something I deal with and my other friends deal with. But again, my name's Liv Ash, and I do research on loneliness and what that means for lawyers and also other professionals, so dentists, doctors, and then anyone who has high levels of education tends to experience higher levels of loneliness. So here's an interesting situation. 2020 survey came out of 2019 of 10,000 Americans. 60% said they were highly lonely. That's a big deal because many of those people are likely in relationships. So what do we know about loneliness? Loneliness is the perception of the relationships that you have and the relationships you need and want. It's that gap. We can feel that as social loneliness and emotional loneliness. Social loneliness is going to be felt like anxiety, boredom, and I don't have something to do and I'm restless. That's social loneliness. So that's going to be I'm not able to spend time with friends. We're really feeling that right now with the pandemic. Emotional loneliness is going to be felt as anxiety. That is a lack of an intimate relationship. You may be in a partnership and have an intimate relationship, but it is not what you need and what you actually want. And you're still going to feel that as anxiety and loneliness. So that's something to be aware of. So we can experience both emotional and social loneliness, and we are experiencing it in high levels right now. Everyone is. Now, in my research for professionals, there's another layer here. And the research shows, and I'm reading this from my page here, imposter syndrome, what does that actually mean? Well, that's thrown around a lot, but many professionals are highly educated by virtue of their training, and this training can cause what we call cognitive layering, where we are overanalyzing basically everything. So if you're highly trained, highly educated, you may experience these types of situations. And you may not have the degrees, but you may be highly trained and highly educated because you do your own training and education. So I don't want to exclude someone, but if you are feeling that sort of over-analysis, and then what we see here is individuals with this training basically are prone to what is called imposter phenomenon or imposter syndrome. And this is the fear of being discovered, to be found out to be an imposter who doesn't actually know what they're talking about, even though you may be highly achieving, you may have done the research, you may have all the accolades, but in your head, you still feel like you're not quite good enough, and someone's going to discover that you don't actually know what you're talking about. Now, that's illogical when you can list your achievements and you know what you've done, but it's an emotional response, and that can happen because of anxiety caused by cognitive layering and feeling lonely, that there's few people who understand what it's like to go through what you go through. So these are feelings of unworthiness and perfectionism tendencies. You feel like you have to do everything alone. So I just wanted to share this short video in the hopes that it may help some of you who are struggling with loneliness, struggling to be you're self-critical right now. Maybe you're high achieving and you still feel like you're not good enough. Maybe you haven't necessarily accomplished a bunch of lists on high achievements academically or in your profession, but you still feel really lonely. It is a complex emotion. The pandemic is worsening it. The most important thing to do, though, is to talk to people. You've got to talk to a trusted person, whether that's a friend or whether that's a licensed mental health counselor. I have a therapist. Amazing what happens, because it's not like I go in there and he tells me what to think. We go in there and I talk about it, and he reframes questions and posits situations and sends it back to me when maybe I don't get that input from anyone else because I am busy doing work or doing research or exercising. And it's like, look, are you sure that this is really what it is? Is this truly what it is, or is it just your perception of something? So talking is the number one method to help reduce loneliness. Other things, of course, as you see in my profile and in my stories, walking, meditating, yoga, taking care of yourself physically, taking care of yourself mentally, enjoying creative outlets, that all helps reduce those feelings of being lonely, but also taking a pretty hard look at our relationships and then saying, okay, well, what do I actually want? Because loneliness happens, like I said, you've got your aimlessness, boredom from social loneliness when you aren't around a lot of people and you haven't had engagement. And then you have emotional loneliness, which is a lack in an intimate relationship. And that's going to be felt as anxiety. So it's really important to just begin to understand and know who you are and what you want so that you can make healthy choices for yourself and for others around you. So there's my Friday PSA. If you watched to the end, thank you. Go take care of yourself. Bye, guys.